Hi, this is Rita Repulsa, aka Carla Perez. Go ahead and listen to our podcast, Journey into Comics. And we'll see you there!
And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics, a podcast about comic books, video games, movies, television, and everything nerd with your hosts, Nate Phillips and Brandon Stowe.
You're gonna see some serious shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Journey into Comics. I'm your host, Nate, and today joining me from deep inside the Technodrome, somewhere far inside of Dimension X, Brando. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good.
That's cool, man. So first of all, let's just kind of backtrack. We haven't really talked about it a lot. You and I linked up this past weekend.
We did. Over in Illinois at the old stomping grounds of the band. Came over and helped out you and your pop and
Yeah, it
hung out
was
for a little bit.
it was it was awesome. Like I said, and I told you guys that day, absolutely astonished and appreciate all the help. It was such a big undertaking that you guys did, and it really helped us out. But it was very strange to do all that work with you and then not have any show to record.
Yeah.
Usually I'm pretty consistently since we've had the show together, if we're together in the same area of the world, we always do a show.
Pretty much. We make it happen, even if it's not like wanting to happen, even if we're too busy.
Yeah, and this one seemed a little insurmountable. You know, you guys had Wyatt, Kate was there.
Mm-hmm.
There was still tons of work that had to be done. We were beat from the day. I don't know about you, but I was just dog tired after
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, that long drive home sucked.
Oh, I bet you probably got like 50 Red Bulls and chugged them.
No.
No.
I did not. I got water.
Just water, nice. So we had some technical errors before the show started. We were trying to talk, and you were real chippity choppity, and then you reset your router. I guess is that what you did?
Yeah.
You reset your router, and now you sound great. But you summoned me back inside because you said you were resetting stuff, and I was like, oh, I've got a few minutes. So I did what any cool kid is doing nowadays, and I walked outside and tried to catch some Pokemon. I was successful in catching a level, or a CP245 Eevee, which I will hope to evolve into a Flareon. That would be cool. You're playing Pokemon Go, obviously.
Yeah, I downloaded it the day it came out to try it out, and I've just been staying with it. I didn't play it yesterday.
I wanted to kind of bring up in the early part of this the Pokemon Go thing because it'll kind of come back to Saturday. So Saturday, we're there, and they sent you and I to go get food, which was probably a mistake, but it's neither here nor there.
No, and you know what sucks right now is that there's a Squirtle not too far away from me.
Oh, dude, I had a Squirtle yesterday I couldn't find that was not too far away from me. It's like, do we stop the show? No, we don't stop the show. I mean, we do. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
No.
Go catch that Squirtle, damn it.
I don't know where to go.
I know it's the worst. But you and I went to go get food, and we hit a couple of the Pokestops up in Hoopston in the stomping grounds, the old school days, and caught some cool Pokemon and what have you. But this thing, man, it's really wild because it's like the creators of Pokemon have figured a way to make the world exercise and make exercise fun.
Well, they've sort of been kind of trying to do that for a while. Nintendo's they always put little things in their games. I don't know if you remember what game it was. It was Wii Sports, where it's like, hey, you've been playing for an hour. Go outside.
It was Wii Sports, and also Wii Fit would do that.
It was Wii Fit?
Which was
You've
weird.
Been doing this for too long.
Yeah, Wii Fit's like, hey, you've been working out for too long. Go outside and do more work. It's like...
And then when Pokemon, when they did the DS remake of Heart and Gold, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, they came with a Pokewalker, a little little like silver dollar sized little Pokeball thing where you could power up your Pokemon, and it was like a pedometer.
Oh.
So that sort of came into this game, walking to hatch the eggs, which that is actually you actually have to do that. That's the whole thing with the hatching the eggs in the game is that it logs you like each egg takes a certain amount of steps, and it's random.
Yeah, and the thing is that I've noticed this. I was going to bring this up on the show anyways. For some reason, it does not accurately log my steps. And I know this.
It's weird.
It is weird, and I know this because yesterday I went polka hunting, which was awesome. Like, just walking, not in a car, just kind of feeling out the lands, if you will. And ran into my first random Pokemon encounter friend, which was kind of cool.
Know what? There were a lot this weekend. We went to Columbia Park in Lafayette, and there was a lot of people.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, and that's the way to do it. I think this game is really cool too because you're very interactive with people you may not know, but it was just really cool because we're walking and I'm like, oh, there's a Goldeen somewhere, and I don't know why I'm getting all the cool water Pokemon around me, and I have something to also say on that, but I'm like, oh, there's a Goldeen close by, so we start walking and we keep walking, and finally I'm like, oh, here it is, and me and my buddy's kid both caught it because he's playing it as well, and then like 2 seconds later, this girl was walking towards us, and I was like, are you playing Pokemon Go? And she's like, yes, I'm trying to find this Goldeen. And I was like, it's in these people's yard, right there. And then she caught it, and it was we had a laugh. It was good. I will say that the gyms are interesting, like where the gym locations are. I've noticed a lot of churches get the gym nods.
Here, I want to say there's one at the library. There's one at the courthouse. There's a couple of churches that are gyms. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
big major landmarks in the area.
Yes, very true, very true. It's just weird because like there's this little like steelworkers union building that's like a block and a half from my house, and it's a gym, and everybody's fighting for it all the time. Like no one holds that gym for more than a day.
I defeated my first gym. Was it on Sunday?
Did that make you a gym leader?
I could have taken it over, but see, you have to place a Pokemon in your collection on the gym.
Yep.
And so then it goes out of your collection, and I didn't really feel like putting any of mine there. So I just beat it and walked away.
That's awesome. You're like, I don't even want this. Take it.
Yeah. I'm just that kid that walks in and goes, and somehow I don't know how I won because I really should have lost. Because I could have swore that they got my life down on my last Pokemon before I got theirs down, but there might have been a slight glitch in the system. Normally those work against me, but it finally worked for me. I currently I've seen 39 types and I've caught 35.
Let's see. I will tell you right now. Pokedex. Here we go. I've caught 39 and I've seen 41. The only two I didn't catch were the Pidgeot that was in your car, that bastard, and a Squirtle.
I saw a Wartortle in town.
No.
And Caitlin caught him, but I didn't.
Did you use berries? Do you have berries yet?
I didn't have berries at the time, and I only had 2 Pokeballs left.
Oh, damn, that's rough.
And I've seen a Fearow, haven't caught a Fearow.
There was a Fearow flying around last night, but I never got him on the radar. I couldn't get him to show up.
I caught a Hypno, but then it glitched, so I didn't catch the Hypno, so that's not counted. An Executor, I haven't caught one of those. I've seen it. Today we went on a Pokewalk and did some traveling. Today I caught a Bulbasaur.
Awesome.
I caught a Nidorina.
I caught a Nidorina today.
I caught a Vulpix.
I had a Vulpix. I got that in Hoopston.
A Poliwag.
Oh, Poliwag, awesome.
I hatched a Slowpoke out of an egg the other day.
Jealous.
I have a Shelder. A Krabby.
Yeah.
And then I caught a Dratini.
Damn you! How do
And
you find a
then,
Dratini?
dude, it popped up randomly at like a creek. I don't
Yeah.
know. But then the biggest one I caught today was a Scyther.
Damn you with your catching of the Scyther.
But yeah, I mean, so those were my big catches of the day. I didn't play at all yesterday. I pretty much hung out here, and then I had to go to the eye doctor. I had forgot about the eye doctor appointment until like an hour before.
And then it was like, oh shit, we better go.
Yeah, so I went, and then I had to hurry home to watch Wyatt because Caitlin had a photo shoot yesterday.
Ah, very nice.
So I had to hurry home. But I've noticed that we now take longer routes to get places.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what? We don't ever really go this way, but let's go to. There's like 2 Pokestops down there. Let's hit those up.
Yeah,
And
it's really kind of cool because I'm figuring out parts of this neighborhood. I've lived here for like 4 fucking years, Brando, and I'm finally starting to figure out where everything is and how it connects.
well, same here. There are roads that we've gone down that like seriously we've never gone down before.
Well,
But now we have because there's like a couple of churches down there and there are Pokestops and gyms and whatnot. And we really, I missed the chance to get earlier a Rhyhorn.
I have a Rhyhorn.
In the other day at the park there was a Voltorb nearby. You know what? I will say it's really cool because with all the negativity in the last week or so that's been going on.
Yeah, this world's dark, man.
This is really cool that this came out, and I mean, I knew it was coming out. I didn't really know how much I was going to play it. I know I was going to try it out. You know, it is fun. I'm going to try and not like get obviously too wrapped up in it, but this is one of those games where like if you stop playing, you're going to be way behind.
Exactly.
Especially if you're trying to get to gyms and stuff like that. Because, dude, there was a gym earlier. It's being like the top tier gym. It's around me. There's mostly red Valor gyms.
Yeah.
There's one yellow gym, and it's headed by a 1241 Lapras.
Wow.
Yeah, and right underneath that, there's like a 1208 Snorlax.
Jeez.
I know that gym is ridiculous. It's like all 4 yellow people here in town that went to that gym and said, "This is ours. No one's taking it."
Yeah, well, Team Valor is actually the least, or not Team Valor. Team Instinct is the least popular team. I've read. Kotaku did a little poll. Hey, what team are you on? Mystic blew everybody out of the water. I think they were 8 points higher than Valor. Valor was kind of the middle ground, and then Team Instinct was only like 37%.
Honestly, when I got the choice for that, we were in a McDonald's drive-thru, and I didn't even read about anything about them, and I'm just like, that one.
And who did you pick?
Valor, the red one.
Valor. So we are bitter rivals, Brando. I didn't even know.
Apparently, according to the internet, we are bitter rivals. I did not know this.
Man, we still have best friends. So I've got like my Eevee. This is weird. We're just like nerding down about Pokemon on a comic book podcast, but it's our show.
Hey,
I don't give
what's
a
that
fuck.
intro say? What's that intro say?
Video games, television, everything nerd.
Yeah, so
This is super nerdy. Exactly, yeah. So I evolved an Eevee finally.
did you?
And, it's interesting. You have no choice in the matter.
Right. I've heard it is random.
It is random, and my first of the 3 was Jolteon, which I'm very happy with. He's at 610 CP right now. I just hatched a Lapras yesterday, which was wild. It was a 10 km egg, and we just started our Poke Walk, and I looked up, and it was like, oh, and I clicked it, and I was like, oh, I wonder what this is going to be, and then it hatched into a Lapras. I was like, that's impossibly awesome. Yesterday, caught an Execute. Finally got a Ghastly. There was an Abra. Do you know where the Abra was, Brando?
Where?
In the McDonald's parking lot.
Caitlin got an Abra right before we left town.
That's awesome.
In Hoopston.
That's awesome.
It was right before the railroad track. We went all the way to the park so I could take her to the Pokestops that we hit up earlier.
Sweet.
And on the way back out of town, she goes, Abra! Bloop, caught it. And I'm just like, you.
You know, the most bizarre of the Pokemon so far that I've seen in the wild, though, and was very adamant. I was very, very sincerely adamant about catching him. Was Cubone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was just like a couple blocks down, and we were on our Pokewalk yesterday, and I was like, I feel like he's going to be in this neighborhood, and we just went into this random ass neighborhood, and it was like, I don't know, we were probably like 3 houses deep into the street, and then it was like, bzz, and I was like, cool, there he is, boom, got him. I don't like how I mean, I would say there's a few things about the game I'm not really happy with. I think everyone can agree. The constant freezing of the game. I don't know if that happens to you, where you'll just be doing something and the screen will freeze out and you just can't do anything is annoying.
When you catch something and then it freezes, and then you have to back out, and then it didn't log it.
Yeah, that's annoying.
The Hypno was like that. I had a couple others like that. Like, thankfully, the other ones are all smaller ones that I was just trying to get to power up or, turn in. But, for me, the other day, I caught a Vaporeon in the wild.
Awesome.
That was my first big, evolved version that I caught. And then I've been working and I've been powering him up, and then I'm working on getting, the other Eevees as we go along. Down here we have a plethora of bug and grass type. It is really weird. Apparently there are certain sort of like areas where they will hang around just kind of like in the real Pokemon games.
Yeah, like if you go to cemeteries, you'll find ghost Pokemon.
Which is bullcrap, because I went to a cemetery and it went. Well, it's an old cemetery, so we got to remember that this is logged into Gmail, not Gmail. I'm sorry, Google Maps. And so if it's not measured as like a big landmark, it might not come up as you're in a cemetery.
Correct, and I've also heard that people who live like in really rural areas, let's say you live out on a farm in the middle of nowhere, the game's really not that fun because you can't really, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Pokemon are located in like city areas where people walk and stuff. That's kind of the fun of the game.
Dude, they love my local Walmart.
Really? You just walk around your Walmart and catch Pokemon, huh?
Like, especially in the parking lot, dude. You pull up in the parking lot and everything that is like on your screen that's near you pops up.
Dang, that's awesome.
So far, there's only been like 1 or 2 like really cool ones that have been out there. They've mostly been Weedles and Pidgeys and stuff like that. But
yeah, I will say another thing I don't like, Brando. Did you ever go to Pokestops and you spin the thing and it says try again later?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm fucking here right now. I don't want to come back later.
Yeah.
Like, I just did the thing. Like, let me have it.
That is so annoying. Especially when you take all the effort to get there or drive your car really slow by it.
Yeah. Yes. I think I noticed yesterday a new trend, and I don't quote me on this, but this is just, I think everything now looks like people are playing Pokemon Go. Maybe that's why the world's becoming a better place, because everyone thinks everyone's playing Pokemon Go. They're just like, don't mess with it. But I saw these 2 cars yesterday driving, had to be like 3 or 4 miles an hour with their hazards on. And I thought for certain, I'm like, they're probably driving and playing Pokemon Go, and that's the safest, most effective way to do it. Decrease your speed to a crawl, have your hazards lights on, and no one's going to fuck with you unless you're a cop. And then if the cop messes with you, I don't know what. But it was just funny because like we left the parking lot of McDonald's, and we had just caught that Abra, and then these people like slowly pulled in, and it just seemed like they were playing Pokemon Go.
There was a story I heard of where a cop was pulled over to the side of the road with his lights on, and he's out of the car with his phone out catching Pokemon.
That's awesome.
And then I heard that there was a cop pulled up on a 3 a.m. Pokemon Go meetup, mistaking it for a drug deal.
I saw that one too. I feel like there was another interesting. Oh, did you hear the Westboro Baptist Church story? I hate those fuckers, but did you hear the story?
Vaguely. Is it something about like someone? People keep taking over their church gym with
Yeah,
like
they're
Jigglypuffs.
well, no, their church gym is it's just the gym there or whatever, and the first person to take the gym was the player's name was Love is Love, which is fitting, with a Clefairy. And then the Westboro Baptist Church like kind of tried to troll the Pokemon community and got somebody in the church to play, I guess, who's maybe just going to become their. And that's another thing I want to talk about. But they got to play this Pokemon Go, and then they put Jigglypuff and got rid of the Clefairy, and then they posted this picture of like Jigglypuff with like a God hates, the F word that I don't really like to say on their sign, and then like a picture of Clefairy. Like for real, I don't like these people.
They're ate up, man.
They yes, that is the word. But a cool place that has a gym also, kind of a little. We're gonna call this our transitioning moment. WWE headquarters in Connecticut is a gym.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Also terrifying. Also kind of amazing. Like, oh man, today was fucking great. I caught a fucking Squirtle, and I was out and I got a Venomoth in the wild, and I caught a Butterfree in the wild, and then I went and I took over this gym and I ran into Triple H. It was a great day. You what? Well, I was in the parking lot at WWE headquarters, and I was trying to defeat this gym, and then I saw this guy, and he was also on his phone, and he said, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Hey, are you the real HHH who holds this gym?" And then he was like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "I'm gonna beat you," and I did. And that's my Pokemon headquarters story at the WWE headquarters. That didn't
You did.
happen.
You defeated his Machoke.
Oh, classy. You don't think he wouldn't have had him a champion? Or a
Maybe not. I don't know, man. Maybe not yet. But yeah, neat little segue topic there. That's kind of why I put that there in the rundown.
Yeah, very cool. Very
Um,
cool.
so there's just a few news bits that from this. Consider this our little mini JIW segment for the show, which we will be recording an episode hopefully next week, the day after the draft to review the draft. So that'll be on Wednesday next week.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can have our good buddy Patrick on if that lines up.
I'm thinking it's gonna. That would be cool. He can definitely throw down with wrestling. I joked with him and said he's like the Hulk Hogan of our NWO. He's the third. He's finally the third member, and like you and I have been the outsiders, just holding the fort down for these first 4 months, which is really just 4 episodes, and then he's gonna come in with the Jimi Hendrix New World Order.
He's gonna drop the leg. Anyway, Brock Lesnar was successful at UFC 200.
It was boring.
I heard that it was a pretty stereotypical kind of heavyweight bout, but I mean that's the thing with MMA that kind of sucks sometimes is that it can be pretty boring. It's you have to really be into the sport to enjoy that. How like to go there to just to see the big knockout drag out fights, that doesn't always happen.
Well, no, it doesn't always happen, but being an MMA fight fan, this is one thing I want to talk about the entirety of this card. And I know we don't usually cover UFC here, but I feel like this is maybe a point where we can, considering it does still involve Lesnar. He is a part of the WWE, but this card was just the main card was all boring fights. Every single fight except for two. The Cain Velasquez Travis Brown fight was pretty great because that ended in a knockout, which was awesome. And then the Misha Tate Amanda Nunes fight at the end of the night was awesome because it ended in a submission. But the Lesnar fight is one to talk about, and then the Daniel Cormier fight is another one to talk about, where in the UFC they allow punches to be considered, doing work up top when you're in full mount or you're in half guard or full guard or whatever. So if you're laying on top of somebody, you can just fucking lay there, punch them once in a while, and they're not going to stand you up and make the fight interesting, which is what both Daniel Cormier and Brock Lesnar did. They just laid on their opponents, threw a couple punches here and there, didn't really do a lot of work, and got away with it. If they would have fought these guys standing up, it would have been a much, much different thing. And yeah, is that strategic, quote-unquote, kinda, but you're at fucking UFC 200. Make it interesting. Why not go out there for guts and glory?
Well, but then that's part of Lesnar's game, dude. He's a ground guy.
Well,
So, I mean, that's part of his strategy. He needed to get, Hunt down so that way Lesnar could do his damage and get his points. And see, because it's a game. It is, just like anything else. It's a sporting event. So, Lesnar wanted to go in there and he wanted to win. He wanted to do awesome. He knew where he could do good. He knew where he couldn't do good. Just like you're not going to go in there and say, I know he's better at this than me. I'm going to do what he does. Anybody that tries to do that, a lot of times will just go down. I mean, all you got to do is look at, and it's different circumstances, but look at the Rousey fight.
yeah.
She kept doing exactly what she said she wasn't going to do.
Yep.
And was trying to stand toe to toe. I can't remember her name now. The girl that knocked her out.
Holly Holm.
Yeah, Holm.
Which that's another whole interesting thing in that whole women's bantamweight division in the UFC is that Rousey was the champion, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Successfully defends her title 9, 10, 11, however many fucking times she defends it. Armbar almost every time. She only went the distance once against Miesha Tate in an epic 5-round bout. Then she loses to Holly Holm, and since the Holly Holm loss, there has been no consistency as champion. Miesha Tate beats Holly Holm. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Miesha will probably be on top for a long time because she was like almost as good as Ronda. Boom, Miesha Tate, her very first fight defending the title, gets beat by Amanda Nunes. The same way she won the title with a rear naked choke. That's fighting to me. The girls put on there was a couple ladies fights that were just phenomenal during UFC 200. But yeah, Brando, that's all I have as far as the coverage of UFC 200. I will say Lesnar got $2.5 million to fight.
He's set to make more than that.
Yeah, and he also set to hold his fucking tongue and not say anything that could get him trouble with the WWE because they asked him, well, you just beat like one of the top dudes in the heavyweight division. That automatically puts you like right back in the hunt for the UFC title. What are you going to do? And he was just like, oh, I'm just enjoying things. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, you got to think is that, like, hey, he is under contract with WWE. Number two is, this is sort of a circumstance. He wanted to come back and see if he could, do well and win. And so it was a challenge. It was a personal thing, right? He didn't want to come in to be champion. He didn't want to. He's like, man, you know what? I didn't get to go out the way I wanted to go out. Let's see if I still got this. Because whenever you feel that way, he's like, man, I feel like I can still do this. I feel like I'm missing an opportunity. They made it happen. Apparently, Lesnar had a guaranteed payday of $2.5 million for the fight. He also received $5,000 in Reebok sponsorship money. He's also will make money based on the pay-per-view buys, and that comes in. He's noted to make a minimum of $5.5 million and a maximum of $8 million.
Dang.
And there's been no decision made about his future with UFC. Ultimately, it's going to be up to Vince McMahon, the head of WWE, as to whether or not Lesnar will still be able to go and fight when he wants, because he's under contract. I mean, he signed a strict, this match only happened because Vince let it happen.
Well,
Vince could have said no.
Yeah, that's true, but Vince got a lot out of this deal, a lot more than I think you realize.
Oh, no, he did. I know.
Because in the deal, I will say one thing was bizarre. Everybody was talking about Lesnar's coming out to his WWE music for the fight. I heard it all week. He did not. He came out to Enter Sandman, which I thought was badass. Okay, but on the flip side, there were several times that WWE 2K17 and SummerSlam were mentioned and or given commercial ad time.
Yeah.
So Vince really made out in the deal because you know how many hundreds of thousands of millions of people watch UFC 200. It was insane. It was the biggest pay-per-view they've ever done, and Vince got to kind of get a little bit from that. Maybe people are going to go, oh well, I would like to see Brock Lesnar perform in wrestling.
Well, see, here's the thing. There is crossover. A lot of the fans that watch UFC, I'm just gonna put my foot out there and say a lot of those people probably grew up on professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So they may not watch it now currently, but seeing that they might go, you know what, I'll check out, and maybe I'll check out a television Raw or something, see what's going on, and maybe I will subscribe to the network for $10 a month for a little while, just to catch up, see if I want to watch it. It's not UFC, but I used to be a fan. Maybe they'll, Lesnar's over there. Maybe we'll see what they're doing. Speaking of other stuff in WWE, this news story I just saw today. Oh, hey, Mike's calling me right here. Should I answer it right here live on the show?
Sure, just have him on the show right now on the podcast.
All right, hold on one second.
Okay.
Hello, Mike. What's up?
Oh, hey, Ro.
Oh, hey, Ro. Welcome to Journey into Comics.
You're live on Journey into Comics.
Well, hello, Journey into Comics.
Yeah, we're recording a podcast right now.
Oh, well, that's cool. What's going on? What are we talking about?
Right now we're talking about wrestling. We just got done with Pokemon Go a while ago, so.
Mike, are you playing Pokemon Go?
Yes, Mike cannot hear you, unfortunately. So.
Oh.
You can only hear me. So, Mike has been playing some Pokemon Go.
Go figure.
Yes.
In fact, you've used a lot more data than I have. You told me you used over a gig of data on this game so far.
Well, that's incorrect. I looked up, did a little bit more research in the fact that I had another app that was sleeping basically in the background, but using a lot of data.
Okay.
Because the average data per hour is between 20 megabytes and 30 megabytes is the average.
So far, I checked it yesterday, and I had only used about 60 overall.
Yeah, so I was incorrect. I just did conclusions.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, I apologize for interrupting the podcast.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool. Hopefully, I'll have our pickup video up soon. I've been having some technical difficulty with it, and I'm not really going to get into the nitty gritty with it. But let's just say it's been kicking my ass, and I am trying to figure out everything I can. Hopefully, this last rendering worked, and it'll be good to go. But the podcast we did last week is up on the YouTube channel, so check out episode 4 of the Game Addicts.
Episode 4.
Yeah. We do our top 10 games of all time. Between we count them down 10 to 1, both Mike's list and my list. So
interesting. That'll be definitely a good listen.
All right. Well,
yeah, dude.
You're done.
Yeah, sure.
Before we get this proper, I can just Skype in.
Or you could just message me and tell me what you wanted while I'm doing the show, and I can just act like I'm listening to Nate.
You bastard.
Do that. Anyways, all right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Even though Nate can't hear me and I can't hear him.
No, I can hear Mike. He just can't hear me.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for interrupting the show.
Anything for our viewers.
Later, bud.
Dude, that was amazing. You couldn't time that any more perfect.
Oh, it was funny. Back to the show. So on our Journey to Wrestling show that we did, was it last week that we did it? Last Friday?
Yeah, episode 4.
All right, we talked about the Roman Reigns suspension and what impact that may or may not have. He's still in the main event for Battleground. The rumors going around that that Ambrose might drop the title at Battleground. We don't know what. We don't know who and the whats. But I just saw this article today, and so this is a bit on the dirt sheet side, so please take this with a grain of salt. Apparently, Roman Reigns failing the wellness policy right before the draft, right before the brand extension, pretty much put him in hot water with Vince. It's being said that he had already started to sour towards Reigns, finally.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was doing everything he could to get this guy over, and he just wasn't, man. He's already starting to sour on him as the top star of the company before he failed the wellness policy, and this made it much easier for him because he had a legitimate reason to knock him off the pedestal and take the belt off of him. And Vince is said to be very high on both AJ Styles and Seth Rollins as his top superstars for Raw and SmackDown. So very interesting way to go there. And with the NXT people coming up and with people kind of getting more airtime, Roman's climb to the top might be a little bit tougher than it was before, especially if they're really going to knock him down. I could see Roman still being in the title picture at SummerSlam. I'm going to put it out and predict that Rollins is going to win at Battleground, and it'll be Rollins and Reigns in a rematch at SummerSlam. So unfortunately, Ambrose might not be in the title picture too long. He's sort of like this little wild card was thrown in. I would kind of want to see Ambrose kind of continue with it because it's something new. But at the same time, dude, Rollins is super hot right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, as much as the fans want to like Rollins so much.
Well, because he's a good guy, man. That's the fucked up thing is that, you hated him when the Shield first started, and then by the time the Shield was really mature and deep in their run, he was one of the most well-liked people on the roster. And then he betrays the Shield and goes to be with, the Authority or what have you. And he again goes from being hated to people start to again love him, and then he cashes in at WrestleMania 31, and the fucking place explodes, and he becomes extraordinarily hot, and then he gets hurt, tears his ACL. And then when he came back at what was that pay-per-view that he returned in? Was that Payback or Extreme Rules? It was Extreme Rules for sure. It was the Extreme Rules AJ Reigns match.
Yeah, it was like the second match, wasn't it?
Yep. And again, he's just super hot. And then even you make him he's like the Rock of this generation. No matter how much. No matter how bad of a heel they try to make him, people love him.
I might not go that far to say Rock, but I'll definitely say Shawn Michaels.
Okay, I like that comparison. Okay.
I dropped my phone.
That's a thing that happens.
But yeah, I mean, they really like him, and of course, he healed him, and he's such a good heel as well. He plays that well, but I think he would play an even bigger and better babyface.
By the way, can I just say congratulations to you? Because you called some of what the fuck is actually going on in the wrestling world, like on this show. Because you said if it was up to you, remember? You were like, if it's up to me, somehow the club gets interacting with the Shield. But you were like, what if all three members of the Shield end up champion at one point in time? And Ambrose, and you said Ambrose would be like the little in-betweener champ. He wouldn't hold the title for a super long amount of time, but he would be champion for a time.
So I sort of called it, but it's in a different situation.
Kind of, yeah.
Because they're not feuding with the club. They're not doing anything like that. I'm very excited to see what happens with the draft. I do think that a new championship is going to be formed on SmackDown. I do think that Rollins is going to be the WWE champion on Raw after Battleground, and that SmackDown is going to have Cena and AJ over there, and that they're going to be either at Battleground at Battleground they're doing a tag match. So either on that episode of SmackDown, because they're slated to wrestle the night of the draft.
Damn.
Either on that episode or at SummerSlam, I feel like that's where they're going to make a new champion for SmackDown. Now, they've already said last night who's going to be running both shows.
Now, I haven't seen Raw from last night yet.
Well, do you want me to just spoil it for you right now?
Well, unfortunately, you don't have to because comicbook.com did.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's Stephanie's going to remain on Raw,
mm-hmm.
and Shane's taking over SmackDown.
But they're going to have general managers, too.
Okay, now apparently. I don't know this.
So, next week, they're going to name their general managers.
On Monday?
Either they'll do one on Monday, and then on SmackDown, the night of the draft, Shane will name his. The rumor going around the past couple weeks has been that SmackDown's general manager may be Daniel Bryan.
That would be badass.
In fact, just recently there was a leak or a supposable wrong title that said the Yes Movement is that goes to SmackDown, and the article had nothing to do with Daniel Bryan. It was about Shane McMahon becoming the COO of SmackDown, or the commissioner. That's what I haven't heard that term used in a long time, but
Yeah.
Shane said he wanted someone to run SmackDown that was going to have the fans' best interest at heart. So, I mean, pretty much Daniel Bryan is the WWE Universe's fan darling,
Yep.
So it's like he fought the authority for so long that he's definitely going to be on the opposite side of that. And obviously, this frees up where Shane doesn't have to be there every week. He can come when it's important and kind of go from there. So, I think that's the end of the wrestling news. Not a whole lot, because next week we're definitely going to be covering a lot. Right here, right now, I want to tell you, Nate. Even though the draft is going to be sort of a big thing next week, we're going to be reviewing the draft and comparing it to our own draft. We're going to hopefully have our good friend Patrick on for that show. There's a segment I want to do, and I want you to sort of spend the week and think about it.
Sure.
And I'm going to message Patrick and tell him to do the same if we can get him on the show. Think of your top 10 guys who were never world champion, who should have been.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. That's sure. I like that. That's going to be tough, but I like that. There's a lot of interesting. I'm pretty sure I know my number one, but we'll save it for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brando, I know you're not fully caught up on The Flash yet. I know it's a huge undertaking. I know we talk about it all the time, how you need to catch up, blah, 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 blah. Today, The Flash and CW decided to drop something on the world, a teaser picture, which I'm starting to get into this weird place in my head where I'm not sure if I'm happy with knowing all the teasers before the season and seeing like the payoff that I waited all last season for to just come to fruition in a picture and not on the screen. But today they took the kid that plays Wally West and they showed him as Kid Flash, so he's going to be Kid Flash next season in The Flash, and that's super exciting. He looked awesome. It was just like, yes, finally we get. I wanted that all last season. All I wanted to see was him become Kid Flash, and they didn't do it, and they don't give you the payoff. A lot of people are like, well, how are they going to do that in a Flashpoint Paradox universe? And all I can say is that I think they've teased Flashpoint at this point, but I don't think they're going to full-blown go into that next year. I think it's just a swerve. I think they're keeping everybody off the scent of what they're actually going to do. And if they fiddle with the Flashpoint Paradox thing at all, it'll only be like the first 8 or 9 episodes. It'll get fixed maybe by way of Supergirl ending up in the quote-unquote CW verse and helping to counterbalance. I don't write for them, so I don't know what they plan to do. But I don't know. Brando, I don't know about you. I'm just excited. The Flash is a great show, but I know you're not caught up.
No, I'm not.
But speaking,
it's really cool though, because they're doing a lot of really cool stuff with it, and I know a lot more than what I should for not having watched the whole series, but it's really neat, and I'm glad that they're, in a way, I'm sort of glad that they're getting to do their own thing and not be interrupted by the movies.
Correct.
As much as a lot of people want to see the television Flash in the movie. Man, in a way, you can almost look at the way Marvel does it with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and how much that sort of interrupts any possible flow. It can actually either be a good or negative for the show. This allows them to just do their thing, tell the story they want to tell. And then, of course, DC has so many multiverse, you can do something later on.
And I mean, you could do Crisis on Infinite Earths, and at some point, Grant Gustin could show up alongside of Ezra Miller, both as different Barry Allens from different Earths.
And I've actually heard from certain journalists that were on the set for some of the Justice League shooting that Ezra is doing a very good job as the Flash.
Yeah.
And that he might actually be like one of the best parts of the movie is some of his quips and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I had heard that too. I will say back to the CW verse real quick. You know that they cast a Superman, right? For
Yeah,
this year's Supergirl
we
officially.
totally haven't talked about that, have we, at all?
No, we've kind of not really covered a lot of Supergirl stuff. There's been a lot of like other comic things going on. I know that in a couple weeks, once I want to say all of the number twos are out for Rebirth. I have read all of the number ones, and I've now read most all of the number twos, and I want to break those down and dissect my star ratings and how the stories actually are now that we're getting a little bit into these universes. But yeah, Supergirl coming to CW verse Mondays. Not the week that Flash and Arrow premiere, but the week following on that Monday. And then it'll be Monday Supergirl, Tuesday Flash, Wednesday Arrow, Thursday Legends of Tomorrow. CW is probably just needs to be renamed DC TV at this point because most of their programming that is quality programming is DC comic books. So that's what I've got there. To kind of move on to the other side of kind of across the pond, Marvel has a movie coming out next year, Brando, that I know I'm super excited for. I'm sure you're super excited for. We're only a year away. I don't know if you knew that. But we're going to get Spider-Man Homecoming in a year's time. And they're filming it now. And Tom Holland took a picture. Did you see the picture?
I did.
Okay, what are your thoughts?
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it so like the whole thing is him taking a picture of his, obviously doing the Spider-Man webs I love you hand gesture, and it looks like a web, his web shooter. So
Yeah, it's a new kind of it looks kind of maybe like Stark Tech.
well, I mean, Tony is going to be in the movie, so
Yeah, so setting it up.
you know, um, I'm pretty excited for that because I definitely want to see, I want to see a more of a Marvel-esque direction for the Spider-Man character. As much as the other movies, the Amazing movies were okay at best. Definitely some stuff in there that I didn't like, stuff I did like, but I'm looking forward to seeing what this kid can do on his own. And he was a real shining light in the Civil War movie. So
Yeah, also to note, he was really high up there taking that selfie.
shit,
Wow, that was loud, whatever it
it
was.
was loud. I don't have a case for my phone yet.
Oh
So
my god, that was your phone?
yeah,
Whoa!
yeah. I'm putting it
Yikes.
down. I I had it in my hand because that's where I had the rundown and everything, and I was looking at stuff as we were talking about it, and I'm like, nope, nope, going blind. Going blind from now. I'm putting my phone down. I just got that damn thing. I'm not breaking it.
So I guess if I mean I think that's it for Spider. I'm just excited for Spider-Man, but Brando, really, really, really what I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking on today, and it's going to probably be what closes our show out. Uh, the Walking Dead just released its latest issue, issue 156, and I really need to get your opinions on it because I've said some pretty high praise, and I've said it to a lot of different people, but I want to know what you think before I butt in with my thoughts.
I thought it was great.
Excellent.
I thought it was, I thought it was great. I thought it was good storytelling. Um, the story revolves around Negan trying to fit in with the Whisperers. Of course, in the previous issues, he's found his way there, and then Alpha has sort of let him in, and sort of, it's honestly, it's probably more of a curiosity type thing, from her. It's kind of what it seems like is like she's like letting this, because a lot of what Negan says and does is definitely not within their status quo, not how they live their life. So she's letting a lot of stuff slide, and her second Beta is really getting kind of ticked off and irritated at, like, anybody else would be dead, but so why is this guy getting a pass, And then Negan is sort of like playing along, or as it turns out, with sort of getting into these guys, and like over the course of a couple different pages, several like some time passes. I don't know if it's a day or a couple days, but he tries to definitely fit in with their group, and he has talks with Alpha and
Well,
about.
and then there's kind of this like breaking point moment for Negan, I found, where some shit's going down in the camp,
Hmm.
and he is thoroughly not cool with it.
No, two guys were trying to force themselves upon a woman in the group, and Negan stands up for her and basically does he kill one guy? He kills him and takes it.
I think so. Yeah.
And then he basically is going to kill the other guy, but then Beta and some other people stop him and say, no, you had no right to stop that. She didn't ask for your help. You know, and Negan's like, what the fuck? You're just going to sit here and you're going to defend them for doing this? And he's like, she has to defend herself. If she's, can't fight him off, that means she's not strong enough.
Kind of only the strong will survive is kind of how the Whisperers operate.
Exactly, and Negan's not okay with that.
And I think that's where Negan's wheel starts to kind of turn. And like he's been analyzing these people since he's been in their camp, and he's just been kind of studying and learning. And yeah, he's been himself, and he's been very arrogant and cocky as he is. But this turns his head, and he goes, okay, what? Like Alpha was just like absolutely cool with seeing that, and didn't have any. Something's not right. So, the what I think is probably some of the greatest writing in the history of this book comes in like the last like 4 or 5 pages between just Alpha and Negan, and they're having a very personal conversation. What were your thoughts on what was going on in this conversation and kind of the way Negan was talking?
Well, Negan sort of breaks the wall down a little bit, and he actually sort of goes into his past. He almost kind of like drops the bravado, because the speech that he's using definitely doesn't sound like the Negan that we've been reading for the past, 50 or so issues.
Correct.
So, there weren't a whole lot of F-bombs. He was being real. He was being serious. He was speaking on a personal level with Alpha, talking about his past
And trying
the people that he's lost.
Yep.
And saying that, that broke me. I'm a broken man. I don't feel anymore. I don't feel bad. I don't feel good. I don't feel sad. If I have to kill a bunch of babies in a field to survive, I'll do it. If I have to cave some guy's head in because you tell me to survive, I will do it. I'm not going to feel bad about it.
And then he kind of goes a little bit deeper, and he starts to really kind of, I wouldn't say attack, that's probably a really bad word, but he starts to really explain to Alpha what he knows about her that she hasn't had the courage to realize about herself. And that is that she's just faking it. That she's not really this barbaric, soulless person, and that he knows what not having feelings is like because he is that person. And she, on the other hand, still has feelings. She sent Lydia away for very specific reasons because she cared about her daughter. She didn't want bad shit to happen. So she's just been playing pretend in this world. And Negan really makes her see that, and she breaks down about it.
It's not the first time we've seen her break down either. I mean, there's been hints all on the course of this storyline with the Whisperers ever since she sent her daughter away, that she's not as powerful or as an alpha as she needs to be.
So now let's talk about like this last like panel and a half here. Did you expect what happens to happen?
Not necessarily, not when it did. Let's put it that way. I didn't really fully buy into the fact that Negan is trying to join these guys.
Well, you can't, because you can never know what Negan's real motives are.
Well, see, and I kind of felt like he was, and I might have said it here on the podcast, but I kind of felt like he was going in there to fill them out and to do by himself what nobody in Rick's group could do. That was to go take out the threat. And then show Rick, hey, look, you don't have to keep me locked up anymore. I am a help to you. you've earned my respect, you know.
And I want to talk on that for a second because I've had this conversation a couple times about Walking Dead 156 and thoughts and theories and why did Negan do what he does, which, spoiler alert, I probably would say just, yeah, if you haven't read Walking Dead 156, I'm sorry, but, Negan, decapitates Alpha completely and says, like, I can't wait to take this back to Rick and show him. And when I read that, it was like, I know exactly the mindset that Negan's in, and he's not crazy anymore. He's not even who he was in Walking Dead 100. And the thing is he's never actually been really a bad guy. He's just done what it takes to survive. He's had to make terrible, tough decisions. Sometimes he's had to be a little bit extreme, talking about some of the things he did with Glenn, with Spencer, and so on, with Alpha even. But Rick earned the loyalty of Negan by keeping him alive and not mistreating him for 2 years. Negan had 2 years to sit in a cell and think, why did Rick Grimes let me live? I shouldn't have. I didn't deserve to. And it's ate at him. And now he's at this point where he's like, fuck, Rick Grimes is an honorable dude. Like, he doesn't just say he's fucking honorable and then is dishonorable. He's honorable and he upholds that. And he upholds it to the highest guard. And that's why ever since the time jump, ever since Walking Dead 127 and moving forward, Negan, when you hear him speak about Rick or has something involved with Rick, it's been with admiration. It's been with respect. I mean, he could have got, he was freed at one point in time unintentionally and didn't leave. He went back to his cell and sat there with the door open, and Rick didn't trust it. And he's like, what am I going to have to do to get your trust? I think he just did it. But at the same time, and this is the thing that I don't think there's going to be way darker fallout from this issue than the good that came from this issue. Because I don't know about you, but I was like, fuck yeah, Alpha's dead. That was awesome. Way to go. And way to, do to her what she did to like Ezekiel and Rosita and all those guys. But I feel like now Beta will become Alpha.
Uh-huh.
And he is going to lead a fierce Whisperer war against Rick and the group. And it's going to be tough, and there's going to be casualties, and while Negan did good, yes, he absolutely did the right thing, yes. He also has maybe made a terrible mistake, because Alpha was the only thing at that time keeping Negan alive anyways. So now Negan's got to escape, get back to Rick with her head, which is bizarre. Hopefully he knows his way back. I'm sure he does. He's pretty good with direction. My question is, he rolls up with a head. Do you think that Dwight's going to cave Negan's head in with Lucille?
Or even give Lucille back?
Or, I thought about that too. What if he just gives Lucille back, gets down on one knee and says, I'm loyal to you first, Negan.
I don't know if Dwight would do that. I think Dwight's gotten more in tune with his own personality and with his own character. Like, I think Dwight is loyal to himself first, and then to Rick and the group. I think he's kind of broken that tie to Negan a little bit, because I think I kind of feel like he needs to survive.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I disagree with the kneeling immediately to Negan, like, oh, hey, I've never left. Yeah, I've been here the whole time. I just didn't break you out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be pretty foolish. But, I mean, I don't know. This book is interesting, and usually I go and I look at the cover for the next issue. I did not for 157, so I don't even know what the title is or anything like that. I'm going to save it. I just thought, I don't know, this might have been the greatest issue of Negan ever. Because you got to see he wore a lot of different hats in this book.
It's definitely up there. Definitely just for the Negan role itself. Because I still sort of think that one of my favorite issues with Negan was the issue where Carl kind of sneaks into Negan's compound.
That's 105.
That's one of my favorite ones with Negan. And this one's up there. It's up there because just because of how much you get insight into who and what and how Negan works and everything.
Yeah, and he starts to, again, it was that moment where he kind of let his guard down and he was not full of bravado, as you said, and you start to learn about his past. And he doesn't really give it all away. Obviously, he's not going to. That's why they have Image Plus, and that's where you can get the Negan, what is it, Here's Negan's story, I think. But, you know, man, this book was good. I'm looking forward to what's next in the series. I don't know. I don't think they can be stopped. The book, it seems to have what people call, like, I don't remember who I was talking to, but they were like, "Oh man, that boring lull through the 70s." And I was like, the book might have been slow in the 70s, like in issue 71 through like 84, quote unquote slow, but it's setting up huge things down the road. And that's what I love about this book is there's always payoff, and it's not you wouldn't have expected that they were going to kill Alpha, who's been this humongous threat to the book, randomly in issue 156. It just, you'll probably save her till 200, didn't kill Negan, blah, 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 blah. It's just, I love the unexpectedness of this book. You don't know who's going to live. You don't know who's going to die. And you can't ever accurately predict the movements. It's very, very real to human nature in that regard, I think.
Well, a lot of people might have thought, they'll let this Negan Alpha connection sort of play out for another couple of issues, maybe save it for 160, for like a big even number. No, honestly, it was like the first book they really ever spent time together. He kills her.
Yep.
So, I mean, it was, in that remark, it was unpredictable. I kind of thought that this was going to happen, but I didn't realize it was going to happen so soon.
Truth. Very, very true. What was I had something I was going to add to this, and I just can't remember. Oh, you know that they shot 11 different death sequences for the end of season 6?
I think I sent that to you.
I do believe you did, yeah.
Yeah, they did a death sequence for everybody who was on their knees for the television finale, and they did that just so they wouldn't give anything away too much.
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be interesting to see what the trailer is like. The trailer comes out next week, and it's going to be interesting to see how much or none that gives away.
I think that it's going to give none away, but I think it's going to get people hyped for the season, because if you're me, and if you're Kirkman, or if you're Scott Gimple or any of those guys, Greg Nicotero, whoever, if you're me, the trailer should only be Negan, and it should be learning about how the show is going to be told from his perspective this season, and not Rick Grimes. Focus more on the fact that he's going to be where the spotlight is, and don't try to you don't need to worry about the group. You could give tons of different monologues of Negan, and people would be like, fuck yes, let me see this now, and get people hyped. You might be able to show Ezekiel and Shiva. You may be able to show a little bit of the kingdom without saying too much. I'm sure that'll probably be in there. You'll see a overshot of the old college campus be turned into the kingdom, and maybe the tiger roaming free. But I don't know, man. What is that? Next week is during SDCC?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that should be interesting for sure. But do you have anything else to add to this, Brando? Not
really. I mean, honestly, there's not really too much going on until I mean, there's going to be a lot of news coming out of Comic-Con, so I'm sure we're going to talk about all of that. But I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen with Suicide Squad and see how good that's going to be.
Less than a month away.
I know. I'm going to have to try and find a way to see it. Also, I might go see the Killing Joke in theaters. That's going to be in theaters for like 1 or 2 nights only through the Fathom events. So check your local theaters to see if it's playing. It's going to be playing. I think it's on a Monday night at 7:30 here. So
yeah, I think it's Wednesday at 7:30 here.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to go see it. I want to go see it really bad.
Yeah, I think it'll be awesome. But if that's going to do it, as always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Journey into Comics. Facebook at Journey into Comics Podcast, JIC Podcast on Twitter. You can email us at journeyintocomics.podcast@gmail.com. Is there things I'm forgetting? Oh, make sure to check us out on Podbean, which is probably most likely where you're listening to us from.
Yeah, check us out on Podbean. We're on Google Play Music.
Oh, get us
now.
on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review if you kind of halfway like some of the shit we say, maybe sometimes.
We're on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube, where we put every episode of Journey into Comics up that we can, barring, legal stuff. There's only been one episode that has not been put up. That was the second Metal Cast, but we have exclusive podcasts there. Journey to Wrestling posts there. Game Addicts podcast posts there, and of course any sort of video stuff that we do. We are not. That isn't our job. So our videos aren't every day. There's not even one a week. It's the podcasts are up every week, but video stuff is a little bit far in between. But we still do it. So please do check us out there as well.
I wanted to mention too, if you're on the journeyintocomics.podbean.com site and you look over to your left, you can find Brando and myself on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, but then you can also find Journey into Comics YouTube and just click right there and it'll take you directly to our YouTube, and that way you can see and listen to all of our videos and different podcasts that we do. But if that's going to do it this week, I'm Nate.
I'm Brando.
Brando, this was episode 104. I forgot to mention.
104, man. We're cooking it, man.
Now,
we're going to get to 200 in no time.
Yeah, now Pokemon, go the fuck outside and go catch them all. Later.
I hope that Squirtle's still here.
Is he?
I don't know.
Well, go find him. Catch them all.
I got to go.
Okay, we'll see you later.